So on Sunday, Woolworths in Glenelg opens at 11, and I have never gone down there before it's open, but I had to be somewhere else by 1:30 and it was a long drive. So I knew that I needed to get the shopping done in time. So when I walked in, I was very surprised to see, I want to say, maybe 200 people waiting to go into Woolworths before the doors had even opened. And I was not thinking anything to cause me to feel anxious. So as I've explained in trainings before, our feelings are usually caused by our thoughts. So we think something and then that causes us to feel a certain way. I actually felt the energy in that space. And so this is the other thing that can happen to us. Not only is the coronavirus highly contagious, so is the energy of anxiety when it's en masse. So as I stood there and took that photo, that was to capture my heart absolutely racing. And I didn't have any thoughts that justified that. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on with my heart? It was just out of nowhere that my heart started to race. And everybody had the same look on their face as me. They were very surprised about how many people were there. Nobody else expected everybody else to be there. And I'm happy to say that everybody was very polite and calm when we went in. No one was pushing or shoving. I think everybody was just as surprised as each other that we were all there. So the point of me sharing this is that if we are constantly looking at social media, constantly looking at the news, then we are going to pick up that energy. And our energy levels are going to be very, very important if we're going to be able to shift them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just give you all some tools to use to help you with getting some relief from this anxiety. We're going to relate it to the COVID-19, but of course it can relate to anything that's going on for you at the moment. So the first tool is to choose a better feeling thought. So if people want more details about this, you can check this out through Gabby Bernstein. She's shared this yesterday. So what you'll find here is that there are different ways of describing different emotions that we feel. And when we're feeling anxious, we're sort of down in this worry sort of section. And what we want to do is think a thought that can raise us higher than that. Ideally, where you'd like to sit is being optimistic. So expecting the best outcome that we can possibly imagine. So we've got examples of that. So sometimes what you need to do is justify the optimism with facts. So for example, China has turned things around. So their cases were going up and up, and then they've turned them around and now they're going down and down. So it's just expecting the best outcome and just having that patience to allow that to come. So if you see where you are on this scale of where your emotions are, then you just choose a thought that makes you feel a little bit better. Sometimes, like children, if you're at the supermarket and the child at the aisle wants the chocolate bar, sometimes you distract the child and talk about something that has nothing to do with the chocolate bar. And that may be the case for you as well. And so this really aligns with what we're talking about with distraction, where you actually don't think about this at all and instead focus on something that makes you feel good. So that's going to be a really powerful technique for you to use so that you can think a better feeling thought. The next technique is to switch off well before you go to bed. So the energy that we have at bedtime is carried through the entire night, and this really disrupts your sleep. So even if you felt like you slept during the night and you weren't sure whether you were awake or asleep or having a light sleep, what you're thinking about or how you're feeling before you go to sleep will affect the quality of your sleep. And if you think about all of the absolute pillars of health, one of the most important things for you to be doing right now is to getting a good night's sleep. So I would say do not look at any social media or any updates about the coronavirus as early as 7 p.m. if you could switch off from that, so that you've at least got a couple of hours where you're not looking at it, not thinking about it, and it doesn't go with you as you go into sleep. This is really, really important, and this is important for your kids as well. If they're obviously aware of it and hearing about it at school, or you're talking about it at the dinner table, is allowing them to have fun and play and read stories and do things that have nothing to do with this before sleep, so that you get good quality sleep. The next really important technique is to meditate. Now, I know that some of you already meditate, but some of you may be new to meditation. So I want to just demystify meditation to anybody who hasn't done it before. There are lots of reasons to meditate, but the main purpose of meditation is to allow you to become present. And so when we're anxious, we are not present. We're not in the moment. We're usually in the future. So we're playing out a worst case scenario, or we're reliving something that's happened in the past that wasn't good. So either way, we're causing ourselves to feel a negative emotion because we're either in the past or in the future, and we're not completely present in this moment. So the most common form of meditation is sitting meditation, which means that you sit, close your eyes and focus on something. The idea of focusing on something is bringing yourself into that present moment. The most common thing that you can focus on is your breath. So probably the most important thing to realize about meditation is that you're not trying to stop thinking. And this is where people get very frustrated about meditation, is they say, I can't meditate, all I did was think. So you can't stop thinking. What you want to do is just notice the thoughts rather than run away with the thoughts. So when we feel anxious, we grab hold of those thoughts, we believe those thoughts, and they cause emotions within us, like, what if I get sick? What if the kids get sick? What if my mum gets sick? Those sorts of stories. So meditation can be done for just 1 minute. And I would say, if you've never done it before, that you don't want to rush into trying to do it for 20 minutes, because it will probably frustrate you if you try to do it for that long. So you really want to make sure that you ease yourself into meditation if you're new to it. You can meditate when you're doing something just by remaining present. So just bringing yourself back to the task at hand. Whatever it is that you're doing, be fully there and focus on what it is that you're doing. You know, if you're washing the dishes, just really notice the dish, just really notice the feeling of the hot water on your hands, whatever it is that you may be doing. I'm going to share with you some statements that can be really powerful in repeating to yourself or reading out when you're in a relaxed state. So for those of you who are not driving machinery or a car and you can close your eyes, what we're going to do is just go through a very brief meditation just to get the feel of what it feels like, and then I will just take you through these statements that can be really powerful, particularly at the moment. Again, these are thanks to Gabby Bernstein. So sit to the back of your chair so that your bottom's at the back of the chair and the back support is supporting your back, and keep your back nice and upright so that your head is sitting over your pelvis. And place your hands so that the palms are facing up, down onto your lap, and then close your eyes. And then in this position, just take a few deep breaths in and out. Relax your shoulders. And just let a little smile come to your lips. Smiling automatically relaxes us, and dropping our shoulders automatically relaxes us, and slowing down our breathing automatically relaxes us. So you can focus on the breath, you can focus on the feeling of the breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose. Or you can focus on the feeling in your hands. So notice that there is life in your hands. You might feel it as a static, as though you can feel something that's just outside the borders of your palms. It might feel like a tingling sensation, or it might feel like a warmth. Just put all of your attention into your hands. Focus your attention on your hands. Just stay in that relaxed state, either focusing on your hands or your breath. And I'll read these statements to you. May we be healthy. May we be happy. May we be protected. May we feel safe. May we feel guided. May we seek solutions rather than problems. And then just gently wriggle around and slowly open your eyes. Now, the fourth technique or tool that you can use to help relieve anxiety around what's going on at the moment with the coronavirus is to change your perspective. And so when you're feeling anxious, your perspective is, what's going to happen? I have no control over what's going to happen. I'm not safe. And this could happen or that could happen. And you go down the worst case scenario track. Sometimes if you can take a bigger world view and change your perspective, it can really feel very reassuring. Now I'm going to share with you that I resonate with, but I'm not suggesting by any means that this will resonate with all of you, but you start to think about what this bigger picture could mean in terms of what's going on right now, so that you have a sense of calmness about it. But this is one that I shared on social media today that really resonated with me. It wasn't written by me and I can't find the original author of it. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed, and in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. And then finally, the last technique that I want to teach you is tapping. So some of you may be familiar with EFT. And so this is a technique to shift your energy and shift the way that you're feeling. And it's particularly good when you're feeling anxious. So this technique that I'm going to show you now is an easy one to do. Again, you need both of your hands to do this, so only when it's safe to do so. And it's using the gamut point. So if you put your hand in front of you with your palm facing away from you, you can see that the spot is just below the knuckles of the fourth and the fifth finger. So just in between those two tendons there. And when you're tapping, you usually use your two index and middle fingers of the other hand, or three, and you just tap that area there. And the reason that you're going to use the gamut point is because it regulates the vagus nerve, which then regulates the whole nervous system. So this is going to slow the nervous system down. So we're actually going to change something biologically. So this is what I was doing when I was standing at Coles, Woolworths, ready to go and do my shopping, because my heart rate just had a mind of its own. I wasn't even thinking any scary thoughts. My heart rate had just gone through the roof. And so by slowing down my nervous system, I was able to easily slow down my heart rate and smile at people and do my shopping as normal, apart from how jam-packed it was